Hey there everyone, welcome to Violet's Dream Tarot. Today we're going to be doing the general predictions reading for October, which means that we're not focusing on any particular area of your life. We'll take a look, see what the cards have to say. We could get messages here about love, about career and finances, about health, spirituality, relationships, other areas of your life as well, potentially. And we're just going to see what comes up and what is important for you to hear ahead of October, because I think it's useful to have these readings because they give you a bit of a heads up as to what to expect, and they explore some themes in more detail. And it's just useful because there might be some advice that comes out that you might then be able to put into practice in October. You know, it might not make sense, like that situation might not be something you recognize at the time you watch the video, but maybe a couple of weeks later that thing pops up in your life and you can think back and think, hey, oh yeah, that advice came through for me from spirit, so I can use that to try and tackle this situation or to bear in mind as I go through this experience. So I really love doing these types of readings. They're actually one of my favorite types of readings to do, just a general prediction. And as you can see, we have 3 piles in today's reading, which is quite typical for my channel. I like to do 3 piles generally. And I have pulled cards from the Oracle of Shadows and Light for each of the piles, and they have been shuffled, so I haven't chosen them myself. They've been shuffled and they've come out. Just felt like an appropriate deck to use for an October reading. The tarot decks are also very appropriate for October as well, so I'm sure if like me, autumn is your favorite time of year, then I'm sure you'll really enjoy this reading. And it's a very autumnal day here today in the UK. I have a big window behind where I film, which is where a lot of the light is coming in, but it is a very overcast grey day. There's been some rain. Most of the trees are still quite green, but like many of them are also starting to yellow or go orange or brown, which is lovely. Trying to set the scene a little bit in here. My home is decorated for autumn. I have some autumnal essential oils burning in a diffuser near where I'm doing the reading. My boyfriend made us a lovely homemade butternut squash and ginger soup earlier, which we enjoyed, and I'm having, I'll try and show you this, so hopefully not spill it, but I'm having some autumn tea in a really cute little seasonal mushroom little cup and saucer. So autumn tea, it's from my favorite tea brand called Basilar. Not sponsored by them or anything, but just in case any of you also enjoy that brand, they do an autumn tea. They do one for each month, but the autumn one's my favorite. It's like a black tea with maple. It's really nice. One of those that you shouldn't leave brewing for more than like a couple of minutes though, or it can become quite bitter. So yes, we are very much in an autumnal mood here today at Violet's Dream Tarot, and yeah, looking forward to jumping into this reading. So let me stop rambling and narrating this setting and just actually get into what you've clicked on this video here today for, which is the actual reading itself. So apologies, group 1. This is Sewer Mermaid. It says your sensuality is beautiful. The number of the card is 25. And the tarot deck we will be using for group 1 is the Dark Mansion Tarot. It's a lovely sort of Victorian dark themed deck. So that's group 1, and you can just sort of think, what do I need to know in October, or what's coming towards me in October? What are my messages for October? You know, however you want to phrase it, whatever works best for you. Group 2 says Voodoo in blue, rhymes with number 2. It says back off, and it's 22. So lots of 2s and rhymes for group 2. Your deck, perhaps fittingly with the rhyming, is Hocus Pocus, the Hocus Pocus Tarot, for those of you that love that film as much as me and my family do. I still haven't seen the sequel though that they did the other year, so we'll need to watch that. If you've seen it, do let me know in the comments if it's any good. And group 3, Faceless Ghosts and the Haunted Girl, Ghost People. And I believe this one is inspired by a Japanese folk tradition. Number 34, and you've got the Halloween Tarot for that one. So those are your different piles, and you can pause the video, take a closer look at the piles if you need to, or you can just go back to the start of the reading, just rewind if you want to see the up close images a bit more. I know that helps some people, and they also like to see the cards of the tarot deck sort of poking out next to it to see if they're drawn to a particular deck. Just go with your intuition. Don't overthink it. You know, it can be a little bit tough sometimes. You know, aren't quite sure. It's fine to choose more than one pile if you really can't choose, but I would say just go with where your gut is pulling you. Don't think about it for too long. Go with your first feeling, and that one will be your most accurate reading. So when you're ready, I will get started with pile number 1. Thank you for being here. Hi there, group 1. Welcome to your reading. For those of you who chose Sewer Mermaid, your sensuality is beautiful. Number 25. This one is your reading, and we're using the Dark Mansion Tarot for your reading. So I hope you are doing well, group 1. And I forgot to mention a couple of things at the start of the video. So I just want to say a big thank you to all of my lovely subscribers and to all of my incredible patrons as well, including the lovely Kelly and Angelica. Thank you to all of you for your support and your kindness. It really, really means an awful lot to me. If you do enjoy this video, or you like the vibe of the channel, you'd like to see more similar content, please do click subscribe, like, consider sharing with a friend, leave a comment. It all means a lot to me. So thank you to those of you who choose to join our lovely community today, and thank you for those of you who choose to interact with the work that I do. Just looking at this card as well, I should mention this is all the work of the incredible artist Jasmine Beckett Griffith. She's been one of my favourite artists since I was very, very young, like about 10 years old. I've sort of followed her career since that time, and always loved her work. So Sewer Mermaid, sensuality is beautiful. This is making me think about connecting more with yourself, like treating yourself better, perhaps in October. Self-care might become a bit of a theme for you. Also feeling like you might be trying new things to make your home feel more homely or cozy or comfortable. I'm hearing that for some of you, your home feels quite bare. And so October is going to be a time where you perhaps get a few new pieces. Doesn't have to be something that you're spending a lot of money on. Like you might even be getting it from a secondhand shop or a charity shop, as we call it in the UK. Might be getting it from like a discount shop. Possibly even someone in your family might say, oh, do you want this blanket? You know, I was going to get rid of it, but it's in good condition. If you want it, you can have it. And I feel like you're going to be a bit inspired to do a little things to make your home more cozy in October, or just more inviting. So let's see what your tarot has to say. Some of you, I think, will be buying things like scented candles, wax melts, something that I love in particular. You might be buying certain decorations, new upholstery or new soft furnishings. As I said, not necessarily spending a fortune, but I kind of getting the feeling that you're coming home and you're like, I'm going to start spending more time at home now. It's getting, you know, a bit cooler or a bit darker or whatever. And I want it to feel more comfortable, or I want it to be more inviting. So your tarot cards, group 1, are King of Wands. So that's Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. It's all of the fire signs. Then you also have the Empress. There's that sort of nourishing, homemaking, sort of homely vibe. And Six of Swords, which is interesting because that one is also about improving your surroundings and having better mental health. Like the Six of Swords has kind of, I mean, like all tarot cards has 2 levels or multiple levels even of ways that you can interpret it. But the main 2 levels I think of with Six of Swords are improved clarity, which leads to improved mental health, and also like a change of scenery. So as you can see, Six of Swords usually implies some kind of movement. So sometimes there's travel, you might move home, some of you might be moving into a new house and you want it to feel different from your old one, you want it to be nicer and more homely and more inviting, more welcoming. Some of you might be going on holiday, maybe you're going somewhere cozy, like you're renting a cottage or you're going somewhere rural and you're just really enjoying that change of scenery, and maybe you want to bring a similar vibe back with you to your actual home. King of Wands is also making me think of long-term perspective in October. Something gets your attention in this month, something seems interesting or exciting, and it could be something you've been interested in for a while, but it's like the spark just kind of hits at the right moment for you in October. There's something that's exciting that you then want to make into a longer term plan. You want to incorporate it into your life or go up a level in some kind of skill. Let's see, let's get some oracle cards. Exciting month for you, Group 1. Nonsense. Number 28. It's time to talk sense. Okay, so, I do kind of get this as being like wanting to nail down goals. The King of Wands is great because he's so inspirational, he's an exciting person to be around. He's got so many ideas, he's really creative, so imaginative, and can really see things in a way that many other people just can't. They just don't have that kind of imaginative, sometimes whimsical way of looking at the world. But too much creativity without something to ground it or make it practical can be disorienting, or it can be counterproductive. So it feels like you're going from a time of thinking a lot about things that you'd theoretically like to do, or thinking about things that are interesting, and actually focusing on getting things done in October. You're sort of, I guess, channeling that creativity in a meaningful direction in October, and definitely the Empress would definitely help the King of Wands to do that, but certainly he can also do a lot of that under his own bat as well. Lots of creative energy. Evil Queen, you deserve sugar, not salt. Number 2. So yeah, really like taking care of yourself, mothering yourself in this month. Really recognizing that you deserve a bit of a break, like cutting yourself some slack in October. We mentioned self-care and perhaps even pampering with your sewer mermaid, and I think that is really coming along strongly now. I think try not to feel guilty about things. I'm just going to have a little bit more of my tea. Because especially I'm looking at the sugar cubes and I'm thinking how many of us feel so much guilt when we have some delicious treat, whether it's a drink or food, and then the guilt and the negativity surrounding it just means that you don't enjoy the treat, Case in point, I can't remember who this came up for recently. It was either in a private reading I was doing for someone or a healing session, but there was something about a milkshake. And to me, that is such a prime example of this, where it's it's a drink, so it's not even a food, And so people are like, I'm not gonna, I can't justify the calorie content of something like that when it's not even food that's going to keep me full necessarily. It's a milkshake. And yet it's so delightful and delicious and lovely. And, even if you do say yes to it, you end up drinking it, and every time you drink it, you're like, oh, this is awful. I shouldn't be doing this. So I think some of you are struggling with kind of social prejudices around certain types of food or social expectations around what you should and shouldn't be doing. And you're choosing to say, no, do you know what? I am going to spend money on myself for this thing. Don't care, how selfish you think it makes me to spend money on some fancy bath products when, there are people struggling in the world. Like, I don't need to join in with creating more misery or more deprivation. And I think there's going to be some times when you're just going to say, do you know what? I'm going to have some comfort food. I'm at home, I'm trying to take care of myself. I'm going to let myself have that delicious thing. And try and put those worries and negative thoughts to the side that society is kind of pushing onto us. Deceit, number 25. Interesting. Let me just pull another card from this deck. Journey, number 2. Definitely a lot of you going traveling, booking holidays. Even if you're not actually going away in October, you might be booking or planning a trip that will take place later. Journey can also have, as I mentioned with the Six of Swords, like another meaning, a less literal meaning of actual change and growth, going on a bit of a journey of the soul, journey of self-discovery, journey of self-love. Let me just pull you a clarifier card for deceit, because I can't see that represented anywhere else in your reading. So I just want to get an understanding of what that's pointing towards. What is this? Knight of Pentacles. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Okay, my instinct is that this represents not a person, but a situation. But for some of you, you may be struggling with the theme of deceit with this Knight of Pentacles character. So it could be someone with a strong earth sign. It doesn't have to be their main sign, it could be like their rising sign, moon sign, potentially Mercury sign, given deceit is connected to communication. Some of you might be withholding information from this person, or you might feel as though they are holding something back from you, or they didn't tell you something straight away when they should have done. But I think for some of you, this represents more a situation than a person, and it's to do with you kind of deceiving yourselves around productivity and getting things done. Because I'm kind of looking at it right next to this nonsense card, and it's like there's been a long time where you've been thinking of things and you've been thinking, yeah, I want to do this, and sorry, the message that's getting channeled to me, if I just try and describe it, is like someone laid on their bed just doom scrolling, and it's like they're thinking about all the things they want to do, projects they want to start or continue to work on, work that needs to be done around the house or for school or their job, and they're thinking like, yeah, I'm doing that, but they're just doom scrolling. And the message that's coming through is like, if you spend all that time just scrolling and you're thinking about the thing that you need to do, you're just prolonging it. And so what you're actually doing is what is this? Yeah, so you are like thinking about the thing. And so if there's any stress related to it, or if it feels like a difficult job or something, you're living in that headspace by thinking about it and thinking, I must get this done, or I'm going to get this done. And you spend 20 seconds focusing on it, and then you're back to doom scrolling, or you're checking something out, or you're putting music on and pretending it's going to help you focus, and just distracting yourself. And it's like just kicking the can down the road. So you're living in that mentality. You're, you know, suffering in a sense because you're thinking about the thing, whatever that thing might be, but you're not getting the dopamine hit that comes from actually getting the thing done. You're not getting the positive reinforcement from completing the task because you've barely even started it. So that was quite a long-winded message, and sorry it was a little bit difficult to work out what it was at first, but don't get caught up in this hypothetical, oh, I'm doing it kind of thing. Don't get caught up in doom scrolling or putting something off and yet you're still thinking about it all the time. Like, try your best to have these defined work times and rest times. I think some of you struggling with a really short attention span. And that's being made worse by the fact that you're kind of blending these rest and work times. There's no clear end and beginning. So you're working because in your head you're thinking about the tasks that need to get done, but you're resting because you're doom scrolling and you're not actually doing anything. And so there's no clear, you know what I mean? There's no clear boundary between those two activities. So October offers you the chance to move beyond that into something more productive, more focused. But don't deceive yourself that you're doing things and getting things done when you're not. Okay, what do we have here? So this is number 30, the violinist, and number 45, the seance. This one's quite appropriate for October, especially if you are a celebrator of Samhain. You would be potentially honoring ancestors, those that have passed over at this time. What I am kind of getting from those two cards juxtaposed, though, is this sense of like, don't be lulled into a false sense of security, or don't deceive yourself or listen to people that just kind of calm you, but they're actually not helping you in any way. You know, the violinist, he's playing, he's got these women who are adoring him, but there's this sort of dark magic coming out of the violin. They're being enchanted without even realizing it. And then here with the seance, you know, we don't know if this medium is legitimate or not. You know, there's many cases, especially in the Victorian era, of charlatans performing seances. So I think this kind of Victorian scene, or actually it's pre-Victorian, scene of a seance for many will conjure that image of deception, or people, you know, putting their confidence in someone that doesn't deserve it. So there is something here about don't trust people that just say what you want to hear, basically. And also don't trust that voice in your brain that says, you know, oh, you can do it tomorrow, it'll be fine. Like, I feel like there's a message here of seize the day in October. You have plenty of opportunity to really get things done, really make headroads. Is that a word? I think so. Inroads? Headway. I think that's what I'm trying to say. You will make inroads in October through your hard work, but not if you allow yourself to sort of be lulled into this complacency or this false sense of security. Ooh. First quarter moon in Sagittarius, believe in your good luck. Okay, so possibly some really good opportunities showing up for you that just seem really set the scene for you. You have thinking of you and seek for answers. You might be reaching out to someone you haven't spoken to in a while. You might be taking the time to honor your ancestors or people you've lost in October. Someone might be reaching out to you from afar. Seek for answers as well. It's like trying to get to the bottom of a situation, seeking for clarity, which Six of Swords definitely brings. And your final card is sugar, sweetness. And what does this card literally say? It's got sugar cubes and it says you deserve sugar, not salt. Okay, so really, really take care of yourself in October, Group 1. You really deserve kindness. You really deserve to be cared for. But that kind of has to start at home. I was saying this to someone else recently as well. Something like charity starts at home. Self-care starts at home. Okay, let's get your charms and dice, Group 1. Get you some extra messages. Wow, lots of messages. Okay, what's coming up from your charms? So you've got the letters N and J, New Jersey. Could be a name like John, for example. N, J. No word is coming to me, actually. Like sometimes I do get words that come to me. Got Virgo here. You've got Virgo here. Okay, Virgo. It's coming through quite strongly. It's the Knight of Pentacles as well, would represent all the earth signs, including Virgo. You have the vampire teeth. Okay, so someone or something is kind of draining your energy in October. There's a need to step back from perhaps a person that manages to just suck the life out of you or suck the joy out of a room. Maybe a situation, like I said with the doom scrolling, just taking away your energy and your attention span that you could be putting to good work with other things. Try and avoid those things that like sap your potential and sap your energy. Hard as it may be. You have the wasp here, which refers to being stung, feeling hurt by something, not wanting to go back over old wounds. The worry thread. There has definitely been a lot of anxiety leading up to October for a lot of you. But then on this card, believe in your good luck, you've got a upright horseshoe, which is a good luck symbol. So your luck is changing for the better in October, but it's almost like you're weary. Things have been leading up, like, so you've got vampire teeth, the wasp, you've also got the toxic person or situation charm. So some of this could be stuff that's happening in October, and I think for many of you it is this issue of like deceiving yourself or like just perhaps going for advice to people who will only actually tell you what they think you want to hear rather than being honest with you. But I think some of it is to do with stuff that's been building up for a while that you're kind of confronting in October or, you know, pulling away from. You've got these mentions of sweetness. So it's like you want to completely pull back from those heavy energies and just start afresh. You've got the olive branch. Reaching out to someone. You do have thinking of you. Maybe you reach out to someone or they reach out to you. There's a chance of putting these old wounds to rest. It's interesting because when I think of the wasp, I just think of being stung or being hurt by something. But that phrase, not wanting to go back over old wounds, just came as a channeled message when I was looking at it. And then you have the olive branch. So someone might be trying to reconcile something. Or someone might be coming back and, you know, acting like they're your friend when you know that they're not, because that's not how they treated you before. Maybe you're struggling because you didn't get closure from that. And so that leads you to, that encounter leads you to take care of yourself more in October. You want to completely wash away all of that heavy energy. Healing with the starfish. You've also got this bit of broken explosion charm. Something happening suddenly, quickly, unexpectedly perhaps. You have the white rabbit, Alice's white rabbit, who's always late or he thinks he's late. Sense of I don't have enough time or there's never enough time in the day. I need to rush, I need to hurry. But actually it feels like, Group 1, when you slow down in October, that's when you get more done. It's like you have this rushing little rabbit, like a monkey mind that's wanting quick stimulation, that's wanting a quick change of something. It's like the scrolling, like I mentioned, or you can't watch TV without also be reading a book or checking your socials or doing something else. Like you just can't settle. And it's like you're trying to retrain your attention span in October somewhat. You're trying to regain the ability to just focus on one thing, which is great. You have a guardian angel helping you. Angels are around you in this situation. This is a time of blossoming for you. Little safety pin is about feeling attached to someone or something. And the Triskelion is a symbol of Manannán Maclia, Celtic god of the sea, and of many other things. He's a god of talents and skills, poetry, knowledge, wisdom, all kinds of things. I know I said that I'd already got you your last card, but I think I will get you another card because you've got the Triskelion. I think Manannán wants to say something to you, so let me just get up and grab my homemade Manannán cards. Just give me a moment. Okay, I've got them. Let's see what he wants to say, Group 1. Okay, that was quick. So Manannán says, flowery plain. Okay, that's a nice message. So basically, this comes from, I believe it's an Irish myth about Manannán, where he meets, who is it? I want to say it might be Bran. He meets someone coming along the water, essentially. He's coming along the sea, and Manannán rides a horse called Enbar over the waves, and this horse can basically run across water as well as it can run across land. And when he meets, I think it's Bran going over the water, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm misremembering, he basically explains that to him, the sea looks like a flowery plain. So basically where the human that he's addressing in the tale is seeing waves and spray and mist, Manannán is in fact seeing a meadow full of lovely flowers, because that's how he views the sea. And the fish, I think, are said to be his cattle or his sheep. So basically, Manannán is asking you to see things from a different perspective, because things are currently not as they appear to be in the empirical world for you. So you might be getting signs, symbols, things just happening in October that seem weird, that seem, unusual. And there's something niggling about it for you, because you're just like, why did that happen? Or why did I see that person at this time? Or that song came on that I haven't heard for 10 years and it took me back to that exact time of my life. And why am I being, brought to think about that now? Basically, there are deeper meanings, higher purposes at work in your surroundings and in your relationships, which you can become aware of through meditation, other spiritual practice. That's what Manannán wants to tell you. So I hope that was helpful, Group 1. Let's finish up with your dice, because I'm aware we've done quite a long reading here, but I just felt like there was quite a lot to unpack for you guys, Group 1. Okay, so we're rolling the 8th set of dice for you, which are the Adventure Time dice. Let's get those. And we are going to roll 7 of them for you. Group 1. Okay. What have we got here? Yes, okay, so you see you've got the forest. This makes me think about not seeing the woods for the trees. Not seeing the bigger picture because you're focused on the detail. So there is definitely wisdom in what Manannán here is saying about your perspective will shift in October. At first, you'll be looking at things maybe quite surface level, or maybe the opposite. As I mentioned, you might be so focused in on the tiny details that you don't see the big picture. And then something shifts and you see the deeper meaning. You have a sandwich here. Nutrition, taking care of yourself. You know, we've spoken about nourishment, allowing yourself some treats. You've also got the video recorder. This makes me think of making memories. Doing things that you can look back on, that you can enjoy. Some of you might also be doing photography or drama, acting, making videos, editing videos. That might be the creative thing that has been mentioned. Peppermint butler. This is someone who is always acting in your best interests, but doesn't necessarily always make the best decisions. So this is like a clear example of a friend or family member who is always there trying to do what's best for you, but doesn't necessarily make the choices that would be best, if that makes sense, but who always has good intentions. So just be aware, you know, if there is someone holding something back from you, they're not doing it for a bad reason. And that was why I was confused when I saw the deceit card, because I couldn't see anything pointing towards like an untrustworthy person. I couldn't feel anything like that in the energy of your reading. But there is something to do with information being held back or not being fully revealed straight away. But there are good reasons for it. And you could be the person, you could be the peppermint butler for someone else. You could be the person who is holding something back because you don't want to hurt someone, or you don't want someone to, you know, find something out that they might be upset about or angry about. Yeah. Then you have Spiky Village. This is a place that the main characters of Adventure Time end up like intruding into. They don't mean to, but the residents think that they're intruders. So there's a sense of like being insular from that, not wanting people to intrude into your space, into your life, into your thoughts, your sort of innermost thoughts. You might not really feel like sharing very much in October. I get a lot of introspection from your reading, spending time quietly in thought, working on things. Definitely the home as well. The home seems really important for you in October. You've got the person who has tied up a troublemaker or a villain. He's captured, you know, someone. Or maybe the villain has tied up the hero. Yeah, I'm kind of getting a sense of like an eternal battle going on here, because, you know, it's a cartoon. Like the hero or the villain might well get away, and then, you know, they'll have another fight in another episode, and then whoever gets tied up that time gets away again, and it's just like they live to fight another day. So I think the message here is that some of you are going around trying to heal from things in this month. People might pop up unexpectedly, people that you maybe aren't hoping to see, but you still live to fight another day. You still overcome those difficulties. And then you have this amulet that sort of brings a terrible power and responsibility with it. Again, it's like you don't want to look back over certain things because then it'll make you feel a certain way. Looking back on something kind of brings the responsibility of analyzing it, of owning it, of trying to heal it. Some of you are trying to push things away. Like you're getting, perhaps you're dreaming about someone, not actually bumping into them, but dreaming about someone. Or you are, as I said, like you are driving and a song comes on the radio that just takes you back to a particular time in your life, and it's just like, whoa, I did not want to be reminded of that. Or that's crazy how that one song just takes me back into that experience as if I was literally there. Maybe you get like a Facebook memory pop up that is unwanted, or you get, I don't know, something scrolling through your phone and it just reminds you of something. Maybe you're clearing clutter out of your house and you come across a particular item or photograph that reminds you, and it's just like, whoa. So I think some of you are you're getting these hints from the universe because, as Manannán rightly says, there is a deeper meaning. Obviously, there's some unhealed stuff, but it doesn't necessarily mean you have to heal it all right now. But there is some message, some deeper meaning behind why this is happening. But at first, you're like, be gone, like, do not remind me of this. Please do not bring this back into my potentially already fragile mental state. No judgment. If that's how you're feeling, that's completely fine. We've all been there. But it feels as though just sit with it is all I'm going to say. It might be uncomfortable. Don't dismiss this or try and like reflex, push it out the window. It might be uncomfortable. It might be unsettling. It might be unwelcome. But just try and sit with it and see what it offers you. And don't forget to treat yourself and take excellent care of yourself in this month, Group 1, because I think there's some real insight coming your way. And you deserve a reward for sitting with that. So I'm aware this has been an enormous reading. I'm so sorry it's taken so long. But I think there was real insight for you in this one. Perhaps more than we might expect in a general kind of monthly prediction reading. This is more suited, I think, to another kind of reading perhaps, but hopefully this has helped at least some of you who have watched this today. Hopefully this has meaning for you. And if it doesn't make sense straight away, hopefully it'll start to make sense soon. So thank you so much for being here, Group 1. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, a wonderful October. Do take care, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye. Hi there, Group 2. Welcome to your reading for those of you who chose Voodoo in Blue, Back Off, number 22, and also the Hocus Pocus Tarot. This one is for you. So possibly in October, you're feeling a bit, I don't know, like, weirdly, I'm not getting hostility from this card. Maybe you are, but like on this particular occasion, I'm kind of feeling more introspective. You know that feeling where you've got to go into a group situation, or you've got to go into a situation where you're going to be expected to be like switched on and cooperative, and you're actually feeling really introspective. Maybe you've had like a dream that night that's left you feeling kind of weird. You know how sometimes a dream, even if you don't remember any of it, just the feeling of the dream can just affect you all day long and leave you quite reflective and introverted. That's the feeling I get, is that you're not really drawn towards group events so much in October. Maybe you were in September. There's just a sense of like, I'm happy by myself reflecting, or, I had some great socializing in September. Now I want to give myself some me time. And so it's not that you're being hostile and like trying to physically repel people, but I just kind of get the sense that you're not as engaged in, say, work meetings, group activities. You're just not bringing the same energy as you were in September, because you're just not appreciating those kinds of gatherings in the way that you would have done previously. Okay, so maybe people might have a harder time getting through to you in October. Sorry, I just dropped some cards there. Okay, let me see what your tarot cards have to say, Group 2. Okay. And I forgot to say it in the intro, but I want to say a big thank you to all of my subscribers. You are lovely people. All of my patrons as well, including the delightful Kelly and Angelica. Thank you for your kindness and your support. It means so much to me that people support the work that I do and care enough to sort of join our community here on YouTube, join me over on Patreon. It means, honestly, it means the world. So thank you to all of you. If you do enjoy this video and you want to see similar things or join our community, please do consider subscribing, liking this video, leaving me a comment, sharing with a friend who might enjoy it. It all helps what I do. So group 2, you have the Emperor. That is Aries energy. Okay, that's your first card. So Aries. Then 8 of Lightning, which is the 8 of Swords. And the 3 of Lightning, or 3 of Swords. Okay, so it's like you want to take charge in October. You're trying to think of ways that will help you best take charge of a situation, is what I'm seeing. 3 of Lightning suggests there's something... Normally I would see that as sorrow or heartbreak, but again, I'm not really feeling that from your reading. I'm feeling more like it's an unsettled feeling, or that something has happened that you want to make right, or you want to improve a situation. There's an unsettled feeling. Maybe you've gone through some change recently, or you're feeling, you know, like you would welcome some change, and you just know that something's going to start happening, and you're just a bit like, oh, you know, I can feel that something's going to happen, or I can feel that I need to make a change, or, you know, I need to find a way through. Chocolate, aphrodisiac. It's an indulgence in October. It's interesting because group 1 got a message about taking care of themselves and, you know, indulging in treat food, comfort food if it felt right, like not saying no and not feeling guilty about accepting that kind of thing. So maybe that's also a little bit of a message for you. Aphrodisiac as well, like, also makes me think of romance, seduction, potentially self-care as well, like romancing yourself. So you got body wrap there, like chocolate body wrap. Yeah. It could be quite a sensual month for you, group 2. You might be trying to, like, again, this is kind of a little bit of a theme with group 1, but like scent your home with candles or wax melts or sprays, or like having cozy, soft furnishings and certain colors maybe. Like, I think you're just a lot more sensitive to those sense-related things in this month. You want to be, because you're quite introspective in October, and you're like eschewing loud situations and lots of other people's energies. Like, I think you might even be, if you go into like the center of a city or something to do some shopping or some sightseeing, when you come back, you sort of feel a bit dirty from all the crowds that have been around you, all the different energies that you've been brushing up against. Like, I think it also is the same for like bright lights, loud noise, harsh environments, bare environments. Like, you want softness, you want warmth, you want certain colors, certain shades, certain levels of light. You want scents that make you think of certain things. You know, it's like you want ambient music, or you want those ambience videos that you can watch on YouTube, which I personally love, or you want meditation music, you want just things that make you feel safe and comfortable. Romancing yourself. We're all mad here. Number 23. Everyone is a little different. Yeah, so feeling comfortable with your difference in October. You know, I think we get this a bit from the back off card, and it's interesting how you've got 22, 23 as well, ascending numbers there. It's like you're just kind of saying, you know, everyone's different. I'm not expecting certain people to accept me or understand. I'm just exploring what is interesting to me. I'm exploring what calls to me, what makes sense. Maybe, for example, you're changing up your style a bit. Maybe you're learning about certain things spiritually that other people just really might not understand and might think is super weird. Trying to incorporate like a spiritual practice. And maybe you're worried, or were originally worried, that people might think that having an altar at home is strange, or you needing to meditate most days is weird, or, you know, I'm sure some people even think yoga is weird, you know, it's like that kind of thing. You're just kind of saying, do you know what? I don't actually care. This is me. This is what feels right for me. This is who I am. You might be casting spells even, and there might be people who like, you've got a spell book here, like people might be really against witchcraft or the idea of anything even touching upon it, and you're just like, do you know what? That's fine. But this is me. Take it or leave it. Quite empowering in October, group 2. Red, forgive, number 10. Look at the roses. And the bath as well. Like there's the sense of self-care. The roses will be very strongly scented. The sensuality. Forgive. Who are we forgiving? Forgiving yourself? Are you forgiving others because they can't accept certain differences? Are you forgiving past you for making certain choices, being in certain situations, making certain mistakes? I think the answer is that it's going to be very different for everyone. But you are forgiving, you are healing, you are moving on in October, and you are taking control so that things don't end up being the same way again. Taking control of your path, you're moving in a certain direction consciously. Jumpy cards in this deck. There we go. Daughter value. 31. Okay, this could be a lucrative month. Money coming your way. Some of you might have side businesses. You might have investments that are going to be paying dividends in October. Some of you may get a promotion or a raise at work. Maybe being offered overtime that you accept because it's going to come in handy. Value is also making me think about the things you value as well, because, you know, I keep being drawn to this card and looking at Alice and thinking about difference. I think you're working out a lot of what is valuable to you, a lot of what is important to you in October. It's a month of trying things, seeing if they fit, seeing if they're interesting, if they hold any wisdom for you, and then if not, you know, making peace with that, moving on with love, trying the next thing. A lot of you are really exploring your spirituality in this month, your sexuality perhaps, trying new things, new styles, new forms of exercise possibly. Just finding what works, what fits, what can be incorporated into your routine. What have we got here? Group 1 got 2 cards from this deck as well. So you have 25 frozen Charlottes. Little hand offering some kind of skeletal doll to this child who already has these other dolls. And then 17, the 2 nurses pulling this child. They both want the child. It's very reminiscent of that tale of King Solomon, where 2 women both claimed to be the mother of a child, and he kind of said, well, in that case, since we can't determine whose child it was, you know, this is long before DNA tests, then we'll just cut the child in half. You can each have half. And one woman was fine with it, and the other woman said, no, she can have the child. And that was how he knew that second woman was the child's real mother, who wouldn't want any harm to come to it. So there's something here about what is really important to you. You know, tug of war. This is making me think as well that we all only have a certain amount of time in the day, in the week, to get things done. What's really important to you? Because I can see this tug of war as being yourself, and your like different aspects of yourself are kind of pulling your own self in different directions, you know. You've got the creative side, you've got the practical side. They're both pulling you, like, we need to make money, or we need to, you know, be free and have this creative outlet. Or other sides of yourself. This could also represent people in your life. We want your time, you know. We want you to be a certain way. We want you to dress and look a certain way and act a certain way. And you're just feeling caught in the middle, which is very Eight of Swords, I should add. But I think in October, you're really working it out. You're really finding your way forward. And again, not feeling like you need to be the same as everyone else. Being given a helping hand in this month. Something is pointing you in the right direction. But I think you're going to try a few different things on for size first. Try a few selves on for size. What fits? What feels right? What aspect of myself needs more exploration? What feels good in the moment? What feels significant or empowering or validating for me right now? New moon in Aquarius. Open up to change. Absolutely. Open up to change. Group 2. Change is coming. And I think that if you are feeling very unsettled, then that's the reason why. It's because you know that change is either coming or has to happen. It has to come from you. Picked up on that earlier in the reading. Seek for answers. Group 1 got this card too. Seek for answers. And that's what you're doing in trying different things and exploring different philosophies, different teachings, different practices, different styles. That's what you're doing, is you're seeking for answers. What works for me? Who am I really? You know, what defines me? I think for a long time you haven't been able to really focus on these questions because you've been busy with other stuff. But now you're in October being given this space. It's like a container for you to just think about things. Just think, who am I really? What feels right to me? What should I be focusing on? Where should I be spending my time? You know? Really, really lovely group 2. Let's see what your charms and dice have to say, just to round out your reading. Other people's viewpoints don't really matter as much to you in this month. So you have the letter M up here. It could be a word, a place, a person's name. You've also got a heart representing love, passion, relationships. Wow. Group 2, these are some really strong charms. So you have the snowflake, which is symbolic of winter time. Whenever we get a timing charm like that, it to me just means that perhaps you're feeling affected by something that happened in winter or started in winter. Or maybe you're making plans for the coming winter in October. Snowflake also makes me think of vulnerability, feeling a bit sensitive, a bit touchy, a bit vulnerable or fragile, not really wanting, like, it's like you don't have the bandwidth to take on other people's energy in October. You don't, like, just listening to their chatter and gossip and problems, it's just too much for you in October. You're so focused on your own stuff, working through your own thoughts and feelings, that other people's energy in that way just feels like an intrusion. And again, it's not that you're being rude to people, it's just that you're not feeling it in the same way. You're not up for contributing in the way that you normally would to meetings, group gatherings, parties, etc. It's just all of that just feels horrifying to you at the moment. You've also got a feather here, so angels are protecting you. They are watching out for you in October. You've got the butterfly, growth, liberation, freedom, change and evolution. The snake, this is a zodiac marker for people born in the year of the snake, lunar year of the snake. Snake, this one is also a symbol of like someone that you think doesn't like you, or someone that you think was nasty to you before or doesn't agree with you, turns out to actually be a good friend or ally, or turns out to actually have positive feelings towards you. So like someone surprises you in a nice way in this month in terms of how they behave towards you, what their true thoughts are towards you, where their true loyalties lie. So that's always a nice one to see, an unexpected friend or ally. Then you have Ishtar or Inanna, this incredible Mesopotamian goddess. She is showing up for you here, and she just seems to really embody what you're doing in this month, because I think of whatever you want to call her, Ishtar, Inanna, I think of her as being so much about female empowerment and doing what feels right regardless of what other people think. Case in point, one of her big legends is that she went to the underworld on the express prohibition of the other gods. They said, no, you cannot do this. You may not do this. This is absolutely, we're saying no. She went and did it anyway, and it was terrifying. It was a really deep journey, but she came out of it having learned a lot. And that is kind of what is going on here, is you're doing things that the people around you in your life, or at least many of them, just don't seem to understand. Maybe they're not spiritual, or maybe they don't understand why you're looking for a new fashion when you've always dressed a certain way for the last 5 years. So why you want to, I don't know, change your routine or your practice. They just don't understand. They don't get it. But you know why. And that's really all that needs to be said. So yeah, standing up for yourself, doing something even if it annoys other people or other people don't understand. So Ishtar or Inanna can be a real help for you in this month. When she shows up in a reading, or when any deity shows up in a reading, it shows that they are open to you calling upon them in this month if you need help, if you need guidance. So if you feel comfortable doing so, I recommend praying to Inanna or meditating and asking Ishtar to show you the way forward, or to give you strength, or whatever it might be. You have a gingerbread man here, which is symbolic of something taking a while to play out, or a while to complete. I think of the gingerbread man as being like, you've got to make the dough, you've got to bake the biscuits, then you've got to take them out of the oven, check they're fine, then you've got to leave them to cool for a while before you can consider eating them, otherwise you'll burn your lips and burn your tongue. So waiting a while for something to be ready or to come to fruition. This isn't like a sudden, you're not just seeking for instant gratification here. You're not just seeking for immediate knowledge. You want a longer, more meaningful journey to get to your answers that you're seeking. You're placing value upon the journey in October, not just the destination. You also have the symbol of Freya here. So that's two powerful goddesses. Freya, interestingly, both Freya and Inanna / Ishtar have connections to love and war. That is, both of them have connections to those things. They're both goddesses of both love and war, which is kind of unusual, I guess, for many people to get their head around. But that's kind of, it's you, isn't it? You're saying look, I am many faceted. I am interested in this, but guess what? I'm also interested in this. Yes, I love wearing gothic clothes, but guess what? I also love pink. Deal with it. That's kind of the feeling I'm getting. People are like, but you're so sporty and yet you're also like a massive book nerd, and you're like, yeah, you know, roll with it. Can you not handle that? Like, people just want to put you into quite a neat little box, I think, because it's easier for them to understand and like mentally cope with. But you can't be boxed in that way. Eight of Swords, like, you cannot be boxed in. You are so much bigger than that. You are so much greater and grander and just more colourful than that. There are just so many more aspects to you than other people perhaps feel comfortable with. And then super interesting, you have Guardian Angel for wealth here. Might not be able to read it because it is really tiny writing. But it says Guardian Angel for wealth, and then on the reverse side have this little angel blowing a trumpet. So given that you have that and daughter value, definitely there is something positive coming in the realms of finances. Some kind of windfall, some return on investment, some increase in salary or opportunity to earn a bit more money is coming your way. Okay, group 2, let's get your dice. Okay, number 5, that's the actions dice. Fits with the Emperor, taking charge, taking action. And how many of these dice are we going to roll for you, group 2? 8. Number of abundance. Wealth. Okay. Hey, someone's counting pennies. Definitely finances. Finances are accumulating for you in October. There's something positive about money. Okay, what else is going on? What can I see? Okay, a few things. Okay, so you've got the person coughing, and you've got the person crying over a sore thumb. So there might be a period of short illness in October. Like, both of these are quite trivial things. They're not like massive injuries or anything, but you might feel a bit under the weather for some of the time. That also might be why you're not feeling like you want loads of people around you, because you just want to retreat to recover and be cozy and not have people staring at you while you're snotty, or, you know, expecting you to function in a really social way when you just want to curl up under the duvet and binge watch something with some delicious tea. Sounds like heaven to me. So yeah, possibly something like that coming up. Also, again, in a more metaphorical way, just making me think of like not fully feeling yourself, not fully feeling like 100% in this month, which picks up on the unsettled nature, or this sense of, I just want some time to myself to explore things, work out what feels right. I don't need other people's input. I don't need to be under scrutiny, anyone kind of overanalyzing what I'm doing. I just want to make these choices myself. Then you have the person who is planting something. Planting seeds, perhaps. Sowing the seeds of good behaviors, new practices, new habits. There's that Victorian saying, isn't there? It's, what is it? Sow an action, reap a habit. Sow a habit, reap a character. Sow a character, reap a destiny. Or something along those lines. So Victorians notoriously believed in kind of repetition, just learning something by rote, repeating something. They felt that if something just ends up being second nature, you'll be able to do it because you practiced it so many times. And that can be true in some circumstances, but obviously it's not always the best way of learning. But it's like you're looking for these new philosophies, new practices, new routines, new behaviors and habits that you want to fit into your life. And so that, I think, is what this is showing. This is also, it's making me think of like putting something to rest, like just you're burying it, you're smoothing the ground over it, you're laying something to rest, something that has been upsetting you, something that you wish you hadn't done, perhaps something that has been a bit of a rocky situation. You're just laying it to rest, you're forgiving, you're finding peace, you're moving on from it. Okay, then other things here, you've got the person throwing the ball up into the air. and you've got the person dropping the ball. Okay, so I think there's definitely going to be a few things you try out in October that aren't quite right. You know, as I mentioned, you're trying a few things. You're drawn to this, you're drawn to that, you're reading about it, you're trying it out. Not everything is going to fit, and that is fine. That is perfectly fine. Not everything will feel right. You're just throwing your energy out there, seeing where it lands. Sometimes it might, you know, hit a wall and bounce back and hit you in the face. That's fine. But at least you tried, you know, and you can just try throwing it in a different direction next time, see what happens. Then you've got the person pushing against a brick wall, pushing against people that are rigid, that won't budge, that won't change their worldview. And the person who is falling, which kind of makes me feel it's very similar to this sense of dropping the ball. This is a real time of change and exploration for you, Group 2. I think it's going to be a positive month, actually. I know we've touched on some kind of deep themes, but I actually feel as though this is going to be quite an enjoyable month for you. It's just one that you would prefer to just be allowed to experience for yourself and not have people offering their opinions or sticking their nose in or wanting to spend an egregious amount of time with you. You just want to be allowed to work things out for yourself and see if it feels right and, you know, move on if not. And there's this lovely money thing coming in, so look forward to that. Okay, Group 2, I hope you've enjoyed this reading. I hope it has helped you in some way or has some value for you. Thank you so much for spending time with me here today to find out what's happening in October. Please do like, share, subscribe. If you enjoyed this reading, it means an awful lot to me. I also offer private readings on Etsy. I have my Patreon page as well. Would love to see you over there if that sounds interesting. And yeah, I hope you have a wonderful October. Take care, and I will see you again soon. Bye bye. Hi there, Group 3. Welcome to your reading. And it's already gotten really dark. It got dark really quickly after I was filming Group 2. So I've had to close the curtains, and that's why the lighting probably looks quite different from when I filmed the intro. So Group 3, you picked Faceless Ghosts and the Haunted Girl, Ghost People, number 34. You've also picked the Halloween Tarot. So Ghost People, maybe October brings a lot of nostalgia for you, thinking about people that used to be in your life. Maybe you bump into someone from the past, or you have a dream about them, or something that reminds you of them. This, I think, is also a very fitting card for October, because if any of you celebrate Samhain, that's a time of honouring ancestors, people who've passed over, people that went before you. They might not be people that you even know, you know. Almost all of your ancestors will be people that you don't know, but you can still honour them. So that could be part of your October theme, but let's see what your tarot cards have to say. Okay, so we have Death, Scorpio energy. Interestingly, there's the Ankh, the Egyptian symbol of immortality, on the Death card. Then you have Knight of Imps, which is the Knight of Wands, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. And then you have Seven of Imps, or Seven of Wands. Okay, so I think with Faceless Ghosts and Death, there is definitely something here about laying the past to rest in October, coming to terms with things that are no longer in your life. I think some of you, October is going to be quite cathartic, quite healing. There might be some sort of limiting nostalgia that you find yourself drawn into, the kind of nostalgia where it really impacts your experience of the here and now. But I think you'll be able to lay that to rest. Knight of Wands indicates that some of you might be dealing with some potential travel opportunities, possibly as well just things that come up very suddenly, like this nostalgia might pop up out of nowhere, or you might have like a few situations at work where you need to firefight and they just seem to come out of nowhere. I think it's going to be a little bit of a challenging month for you, but also one that brings a lot of insight for you as well. Let's see what your oracle cards have to say. And also, I should have said in the intro as well, I've been trying to remember to say it at the beginning of each reading, but thank you so much to all of my lovely subscribers, all of my wonderful patrons as well, including Kelly and Angelica. Thank you to all of you for your support. If you're enjoying this reading today and you haven't already, please do consider subscribing and joining this lovely community. If you like the sort of content that I'm putting out there and you'd like to see more, please like this video, please share it with a friend who might enjoy it, please leave a comment below. I would love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to get to know you a bit better, if that interests you. So you have apple, forbidden. Forbidden. Now the apple, to me, apples are more connected to Mabon, which we've just had, the autumn equinox in September. And I think that fits your reading so well, is not only this forbidden, but also the connection to something that's just happened. Because, as I said, it feels like you're looking back at the past a lot. You're thinking about people that aren't here anymore, whether they've passed on or whether they're just no longer in your life. There's a lot of reflection and ruminating on that. And it's like forbidden in the sense that you can't go back to that time. I think it helps to frame things as like, a lot of you are mourning past selves, past versions of yourself, experiences that you wish you could go back and have again, relationships that you are missing. I think it can help to accept that actually, in a way, that is still true. You are still that person. You know, you might have been a child then, but that's still you. You haven't lost that. It's just that that was, you know, related to a certain aspect of yourself, a certain level of yourself, I guess, that you're not currently experiencing, but on the spiritual level it is still true and is still the same. Sometimes framing it in that way can be healing. Some of you potentially doing shadow work as well in this month. You are rare and free. Number 38, there are not many like you. And that is true. And that is so interesting because group 2 also had a card, not that one, but a card to do with difference and being okay about being different and exploring parts of themselves without feeling the need to justify it to others. So that could be, I think, a bit of a collective theme in October for many people. Escapist, come home to yourself, number 32. Getting a lot of cards with numbers in the 30s. 34, 38, 32. Come home to yourself. Yeah, there is... You are rare and free, come home to yourself. There is something here about like you're treasuring who you are. And this is a spell book, but it's making me think that it's like a photo album or a scrapbook. Like, I think you are perhaps looking back at the past and feeling a bit wistful and melancholy about it. And maybe some of you getting quite upset, but it feels like this is part of a healing journey. You might feel that there were people in the past that understood you better than the people around you now. But I think also, upon reflection, you can recognize that there were also different challenges that you faced back then that you wouldn't want to relive. Definitely a big theme of coziness for everyone as well, and just wanting to spend more time indoors. Angel of Strength, number 50, absolutely. Strength, healing, riding out challenges, being brave, facing fears, facing the shadow. What have you got here? Number 46. Okay, you've got this little boy who is stealing a fish from the sea, and the mermaids are trying to stop him and pull him back in. Now, I think this is really, really interesting because it's kind of symbolic of how nostalgia and daydreaming, when it gets out of hand, can really like limit you in your present day. Like if we think of the realm of water that the mermaids are living in as being the realm of emotions, and the sea classically is ruled by Neptune. That is the planet of dreams and fantasy and nostalgia and imagination and the subconscious. You've got the moon as well lurking above them. Moon representing emotions and doubts and fears. So it's like they won't let go of him. They're holding on tightly. But I kind of think he's going to get away, So I think they're just in the grip of something that takes you out of the day-to-day reality and makes things a bit challenging for you. This also makes me think about changing your perspective, getting off with something as well, like being let off. We could say that he's done a bad thing by stealing a fish, but also he's doing it presumably to have for his dinner, He's doing it to survive. So there's an element here of like, maybe you make a mistake in October that you get let off with. Someone just lets you, go with nothing more than a slap on the wrist kind of thing. Maybe you make a mistake at work and someone's like, it happens, or you have an argument with your partner and then they're just like, do you know what? It doesn't matter. It's fine, What else do we have here? So we have first quarter moon in Libra. Keep your heart open. First quarter moon in Virgo. Assess the situation. So 2 first quarter moons. The sense of starting to make a bit of progress, starting to put effort in towards something, but being in the early stages of that journey. Keep your heart open. Assess the situation. I do think you're perhaps overanalyzing a bit in this month. And as much as it's really comforting and really easy to stay in and be cozy and be in your own space, don't shy away from letting other people in as well, because other people's perspectives, other people's life experience and their chatter and their stories might bring you out of this, whatever this rumination is, and you might really benefit from that. Positive communication in the near future. Well, that's really nice. So there is some kind of positive news coming your way. Some good news, some bit of good luck. Interestingly, base card for this says good things come to those who patiently wait. So yeah, possibly in a couple of weeks' time, some positive news coming your way. Some good news, some positive outcome to a situation perhaps. That's really lovely. So let's get your charms and dice on top now, group 3, see what they have to say. Wow, lots of charms. Okay, so we got some letters. You got the letter S and the letter D. Could spell sad. Could spell dis in the background, maybe feeling disrespected. Could be words, places, names, initials. Take what comes to you. Disoriented, maybe. Could be 2 completely separate words though, like D and S. It could be, I don't know, days and nothing's coming to me for S. Sorrow, I don't know. Surprise, maybe. You have the word hope here, which is lovely. You also have the baby boy, which indicates immaturity, someone behaving immaturely or someone behaving childishly. Can also just point to there being a child in your life who is important in this month. You have the narwhal. This is a really positive symbol. The narwhal indicates making a breakthrough of some kind. Perhaps having a realization or finally achieving something in a very difficult situation. Finally getting to the tipping point where things get easier rather than harder in a particular task or situation. You have optimistic, which is the reverse of the Sagittarius charm. The S could be Sagittarius. So feeling optimistic, trying to, keep positive thoughts. You have the skeleton. Interesting because you have a skeleton there. Skeleton, it's really making me think in your case about these past people, these past memories, things from your past that won't let go or that you're struggling to lay to rest. You think about a skeleton, it should be buried, but if it's still, dancing around in your mind, there's something there that needs to be addressed. Maybe that's a skeleton. Normally when I look at that charm, I think of skeletons in the closet in the sense of things from your past that you feel ashamed about, worried about, that upset you. I don't see that as much. I don't see it in the sense of like that guilty secret or that negative situation from your past that haunts you necessarily. I just think that there's things or there's people from your past that you kind of need to make peace with and lay to rest. What else do you have? You've got the birdcage, feeling stuck, feeling trapped, feeling like you want to change your circumstances. You have the cat who is waiting, patience, waiting for something. It was the base card, wasn't it, that said about patiently waiting and then getting something good. You have the crocodile. This is a symbol of someone who is manipulative or self-serving. Someone who, might suggest something that seems like it's good, but they're not doing it out of the goodness of their heart. They're doing it for their own personal motives. So someone who's perhaps not behaving in your best interests. Maybe that's even the person or people that you're thinking about from the past, that you're thinking about them in a kind of wistful way, but perhaps actually those people didn't have your best interests at heart. And that's something that you've got to acknowledge and work through. You have the butterfly here, symbol of liberation, very much at odds with the birdcage. Evolution and growth as well, freedom. Property of Davy Jones. This is the reverse of the treasure map charm. So when I see it on the other side, property of Davy Jones, it makes me think of like feeling like you owe someone something or they owe you something, or feeling as though you're like beholden to someone in some way. And again, this could be this past situation that you just feel like you can't let go of it. But it could be something else, like you feel as though you owe someone your time, or you owe someone to return them a favor or something in this month. Or maybe you've literally borrowed something off someone in October and you've got to give it back to them. It is landing on this escapist card. Maybe you've borrowed some lovely book that you kind of can't bear to give back in this month. What else do we have? The lips. Kiss, wanting to kiss someone or someone wanting to kiss you in October. Some romance potential. You have the coin. Queen Elizabeth on it. This is symbols of connections to the UK. Many of you watching will be from the UK like me, so this is kind of a bit redundant for you, but for those of you that don't, maybe you are making friends with someone or rekindling a relationship with someone from the UK. Maybe you're considering working for a UK company, or maybe you are planning a trip to the UK. Something along those lines. Maybe you're reading a British book by a British author or something, or watching a film. Obviously it's a coin as well, so that could refer to money. Maybe the positive communication is about finances. Then you have the Black Obsidian Ball, which is about mysteries becoming clear. finding a solution to something that's been bothering you or troubling you. It also definitely makes sense with working with the shadow self. SD, shadow. I just suddenly saw that as I was saying it. Oh my goodness. Okay, that could also be what those letters are standing in for. And it could be many, many things. Like, please don't think that it only has to be one word or like one definitive thing. There will be lots of things. People will have their own associations with it as well that won't come up while I'm, doing the reading because I'm not in your situation. But yeah, there will be lots of different things that the letters are trying to convey to you. But definitely, working on the shadow self seems to be a big theme for you in this month. And my pile 3s often seem to be the most spiritual pile, which is interesting. And then your last charm is the seahorse. Okay, seahorse makes me think of going with the flow, kind of not resisting too much. They're quite peaceful. I love seahorses. They're genuinely one of my favorite animals, I think. Seahorse also makes me think of having a partner or a friend or someone at work who kind of does their fair share. Someone who really helps you out, who really carries their side of the burden, I guess, keeps their end of the bargain. Maybe that's what this property of Davy Jones is, that you or someone else has got to keep up their end of the bargain because you made an agreement or you loaned them something, maybe money, maybe a book, or vice versa. Really interesting. Okay, group 3, let's get your dice now just to finish up. Okay, so we're going to roll the 9th set of dice for you. Those ones are the Astro dice. Okay, group 3. And we're going to roll 5 of them for you. Okay, what have we got? You've got 2 images here of like a person in some kind of container. Both make me think of like teleporting for some reason, that they're like a teleportation device. This could also symbolize being trapped as well. Feeling trapped, feeling stuck in a situation that you can't move forward. But teleporting, definitely, like time travel even. If you feel like you've been mentally and emotionally teleported back to a period of time in the past. Then you have King Mole. Something like popping up in your life really surprisingly that's like a situation that you've got to firefight. As I said earlier, like something at work just pops up suddenly and you're like, my God, I haven't got any time to actually focus on this because I've got my actual work, but now I'm going to have to play whack-a-mole with this problem situation. Or, maybe it's in your personal life that things just pop up and you're like, how can I don't have the energy to deal with this, but I've got to all of a sudden, deal with my friend having a breakdown, or I've got to deal with, family fallouts and disputes, or suddenly someone wants to come round and stay next weekend and my spare bedroom is an absolute mess and, it's more than I can cope with to have them come round, but hey, I'm going to do it. And it's that kind of thing where it just suddenly sprung upon you. What else do you have? You've got the police officer pointing, looking a bit fierce. But we had this message of like someone lets you off the hook with something, didn't we? So, maybe you feel as though you've made a mistake or you've done something wrong, but the person in charge is actually just like, oh, it's fine, just go. No worries, sort of thing. Like a slight run-in with authority, maybe at work. Maybe like one of the older people in your family gives someone a dressing down, but you get off lightly, kind of thing. And what else do we have? Then your final dice, this is like Godzilla, who's nearly going to step on someone. This just makes me think about feeling overwhelmed, feeling like the tasks that you have to cope with are like just monumental, going to take up so much time and energy, feeling like there's so much on your plate, not really being sure how to start a certain task, for example. And then, you know, if it's the shadow healing, like it might just come out of nowhere and feel kind of confronting. Yeah, I think this is going to be a bit of an emotional roller coaster of a month for you, Group 3. I think there's going to be a lot of thinking, a lot of analysing, a lot of feeling. And yeah, just a real wistfulness for a previous time, I think. But you come out of this a bit more healed, a little bit wondering, like, why on earth did I have to go through that whole performance? But, you know, I feel like I've laid some ghosts to rest, is what I feel for you at the end of this month. So I hope this was helpful for you. I hope it has been a useful reading, Group 3. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, a wonderful October. Please do let me know in the comments how this resonated with you, because I'd love to hear from you. And of course, do like, share, subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this. We'd love to have you as part of this community. And yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care, and I will see you again soon. Bye bye.